The Art Pod, in association with Red Mud Arts and the Ruth Smith Gallery.
Hello and welcome to The Art Pod with me, Ruth Helen Smith. Today we'll be diving into the work of visual artist Anthony Martin at his open house, where he's generously showing his recent work. I'm upstairs with Anthony in his tidy and organised studio, a cosy dormer room with a window that peers through the thatch of his lovely cottage. So hello, I'm in Anthony Martin's studio, and it looks like a real production line of a pile of paper on the left, and then things for making stuff in the middle, and then finished works on the right. Maybe, do you want to explain a bit how they
work? My work is based on fine pen and ink drawing on quite a large scale, so we're talking about A2 and upwards. So I use this line drawing throughout the work and produce these almost 3D shapes, which are also 2D. So there's a constant play between 2 and 3 dimensions in the work, and that's just an artistic device for creativity and play. And I use this technique to build and to morph shapes into all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes, from galaxies through to human beings, through to monsters, through to biohybrid weird things. So yeah, it's a bit like if you imagine organic Minecraft or Lego bricks.
That's a brilliant way of putting it. That's exactly it. And what I love about that is that there's this cosmic scale right down to this sort of atomic or tiny little organism. And it is a little bit like that, how you can almost see the entire cosmos in a Petri dish by just really, really going into the detail of the enormity of what's going on, even on the tiniest scale. A little bit like, was it Julian of Norwich with the hazelnut and saying the whole world exists in this hazelnut? Yeah. And what I find really fascinating about your process as well is that it's not necessarily like you started with this idea of the composition. It's almost like the drawings themselves grow as like a living organism will grow, and cells sort of dividing and multiplying, and the whole drawing kind of emerges in that way, and every drawing is absolutely completely unique. It's absolutely incredible to me that you've got this fairly simple aesthetic, like it is literally just a black pen, and how each form that you create, there's a kind of logic that runs through all the works, but each one is so unique, which is kind of a bit of a picture of life itself, really, in a way. Like, there is a logic that runs through all of creation. Yeah,
you're trying to find, when you've got a technique which is one you enjoy, you can begin to manipulate it in a playful way, and I hope my work is playful more than it is serious. And there's very definitely an enjoyment of finding the universal in the particular, and the particular in the universal. You know, when you look at a flower, you can see there's the same, through the use of things like the Fibonacci series and the spiral form, there's the same patterning going on in galaxies and in amoebas and in atomic cell structure and in quantum mechanics. So you can see there are patterns from very small all the way to the very largest objects in the universe, and I think that's a testament to intelligent design, basically, that the universe isn't, that there is a pattern behind all these different structures, however different they are and however complex they are. So a galaxy is very different from a single-celled bacteria, and yet they do have similarities.
It's kind of a bit like fractals.
Yeah.
The more that you zoom in, the more that it's sort of more of the same.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting sitting in the studio and we're sort of looking at this same image together, and I've noticed that a lot of your work has sort of started developing these little eyes that seem to
Yes.
be looking back at you. So there's a sort of feeling that this is a sentient being that's got its own mystery about it, and that's
Yes.
been a really interesting development.
I use quite a lot. I'd use a lot of symbolism in the work generally, and the eye I've taken straight out of in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. He has a vision, and he describes the eyes of God, if you like, around the wheels, which is the throne. And I find that passage of scripture in Ezekiel 1, his vision, just very, very inspiring. It's very visual for anybody who is visually minded. The images he uses are really powerful, and I've just taken that straight out of the book of Ezekiel. So the eye is, if you like, it's God's omnipotence around us at all times, and I think I do it to remind myself, and perhaps to remind the viewer, that God is around everything. God is in everything.
And it was the first time I've noticed this,
Right.
looking around your work downstairs at the moment. And this one as well, on the wall in the studio's got this. There's a little mouth with teeth.
Yes.
And there is a sort of prophetic element
Yeah.
to there being lots of mouths, that the work is sort of saying something.
Yeah.
It's not just observing something, but it is actually declaring a greater logic.
Yeah, I mean, I use symbolism an awful lot.
Well, let's talk about text, because you've been bringing in bits of text into the works, like bits of paper with explanations on, but then also like verses from the Bible, and even the titles tend to be very sort of helpful in sending viewers off in a direction of understanding it. Though not that they actually need it, to be honest, because I think the work is absolutely speaks for itself.
Right.
But it's quite interesting. How do you sort of see at this point? Because I know it's something you've been exploring. How do you see the role of text or word in art? Do you think that the art is enhanced by it or needs it?
I'm still up for a debate on it, but I tend towards thinking that, because I'm a frustrated illustrator at heart, text and art go together in that context. So I think what I do tend towards thinking that, and I enjoy art exhibitions which have text and have explanations of the art. I think Ruth is quite right when she's saying that you don't want it to become some kind of propaganda or try and force people down a particular narrative or viewpoint or political position or religious position as well. You want to leave the door open for people. So I think it's just getting the balance right, getting the text to actually complement the artwork rather than to dominate the discussion.
I think that's really well put, because you want to encourage open thinking and discussion from every angle, you know, like you want it to be a conversation starter.
Yeah.
You don't want the text to be a conversation ender.
Very good.
And I suppose that's the same even with the artwork.
Yeah, you don't want people to come away either. It doesn't need to be a Marmite experience. People either love it or hate it. You're not trying to draw people into a camp position on it.
Exactly,
basically.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to moving to a new space?
Yeah, I've got...
How long have you been in this studio now and making in this?
6 years, but I've been at it intensely for about 3.5, 4 years. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
And have you got a...
Yeah.
So Anthony is moving from Crediton in the middle of Devon to Penzance. Yeah, what are you looking forward to in Cornwall?
I'm just establishing a new network of friends and relationships and finding my way into a new scene.
Very excited about it. Can't wait to come and visit. Do you think you'll end up doing lots more of like the rocks downstairs?
I think I will.
Pebbles.
I'm itching to do something landscape based.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Anthony.
thank you, Ruth. Thanks
That's
for your time.
It's been really interesting.
Thank you so much for listening to The Art Pod with me, Ruth Helen Smith, and my guest, Anthony Martin. Next time, I'll be talking with painter and printmaker Bethany Cariaga at her exhibition Journey in Blue Time. I do hope you'll join me.
That was The Art Pod, in association with Red Mud Arts and the Ruth Smith Gallery. Recorded on location with Anthony Martin and at the Clearwater Studios, Devon.